Good morning, beautiful people, and welcome to another episode of Bees Elevate with Anubhava. Ramadan is coming around, and a lot of people are getting into the frenzy of the Ramadan Bazaar. There are exhibitions being held, a lot of new material in terms of garments, in terms of sweets, in terms of gifts, in terms of decor is being launched into the market. New businesses are starting up because of this. Established businesses are gearing up for the festive season. Well, in such a situation, what you see specifically in the B2C segment is everybody is busy selling. Well, you have many channels to sell, but before that, you start with marketing, right? Now, with marketing, the moment you start talking about what you're doing, about what you're selling, you can actually define a target audience. And specifically, I've seen this trend right now is people getting into communities, people getting into networks to sell. Well, that's a very good way. It's a very good channel to get traction, to market, to promote, to sell. But when we are looking at networks, you need to look at a few things even before you say, okay, I want to promote my product in this network. Well, what do? As always, I say, customer comes first. Without a customer, you have no business, right? So define if that network, that community is your target audience or not. If you become a part of that, is just for marketing and disseminating information, or really it's going to convert into sale. So first and foremost, target audience. Always, customer is the king, queen, prince, everything. Customer is the center, focal point of your business. So make sure that you have a perfectly defined target audience, and if this target audience exists in that community, in that network that you're promoting your business for or business in. After you've done defining your target audience, next come is how to engage them, how to communicate with them. And a lot of times people forget that the buying decisions are not made irrationally. They have a rational thought process to it. First and foremost, I need to have a need. I have to have an interest in that product. I have to have a budget to buy that product. And most important is how urgently or how fast or slow my decision is going to be made depends on how urgently or how late in the timeline do I require that product. So if you are selling something for Ramadan, the beginning of the Ramadan, your sale would be more of people who have rationally decided that yes, I want this particular thing and I'm going to buy it. As you move towards the end of the Ramadan, or when you come to near up to Eid, you will realize people are buying it just because they require it. The urgency goes up, and that's where you can actually start building premiums into your products. So you need to know the life cycle of making that decision of buying. What process the target audience goes through to create or to make that purchase. Why is it so important when it comes into the networking formula? Because in the network you are connecting with people almost one-to-one. You might have humongous number of members. You might have millions of members in a network. But when you're talking to them, it's more of a one-to-one connect because each and every member knows you as a member of the community. So the conversation is not being made to strangers. The conversation is being made to known people. Here, the psychology comes into play as to how you are going to project your communication to these people. You can take examples. For examples, like somebody has made a purchase of beautiful sheilas, for example, that you are selling. So and so purchased it, and she kind of liked the color, liked the fabric material, like the way our service was delivered. It was prompt, and then these people can actually agree or disagree on it, right? So you get kind of instant validation for your service, and that is the beauty of promoting in networks, because the validation is immediate. There is no waiting period as such. You get immediate validation for your service, what you have rendered. The third, apart from this, the third aspect that comes into the network essentially is, as I said, supporting each other. So if you are selling in a network, use that as a testimonial for leveling up your business. For example, as I said, that validate your purchase, validate your service, validate the way you deliver things. If you have sold to one, make them talk about it, make them your brand ambassadors within the network. And it doesn't take too much of trouble, it doesn't take too much of time, it doesn't take too much of efforts. You just have to say, okay, you are a happy customer, would you put a word or two for me? Or you can take the permission and put their experience in your words in the network. Yeah, for example, Anupama, yes, this is what I'm selling and you should have it, it should look good on you. You know what, your friend XYZ, she also purchased and she is supposedly in love with it. Yeah? When you have this kind of references, that makes it much more easier to sell in a network or a community. The fourth one is, of course, building that rapport and maintaining it. What we do is, for example, you will sell because Ramadan is here, you have new things to sell, people are going to buy. Ramadan ends, okay, the next business or need for selling comes somewhere during September, October, maybe in the next Eid or Diwali or Navratri, yeah? And in the interim period, you just disappear. Now, that's not the way to market, and specifically to a network. You have to be consistently visible, consistently engaging, consistently talking about your products, your services in front of this network. Whichever network, whichever community it might be, you need to keep your clientele, your prospective customers engaged, because you don't know when they would have a need, and you should be on top of their mind. So a consistent communication or consistent messaging is very much important when you are promoting in networks or in communities. You have to do it. Otherwise, what happens is you do for one segment of a timeline, then you disappear, then you come back when you think that okay, people are going to buy, and then you start aggressively promoting, and then again you go down. So it's like you're building the rapport, the campaign, the communication every time afresh. Sorry, that's not the way it can work, or it will give you traction. You have to be consistent. We always tell a lot of people, digital marketing, be consistent, be regular. Be it marketing, don't dip your marketing to such a level that people forget you. You're front of them, you're top of their mind, you're visible, and when they have a need, they would recall you first than anybody else. So make sure that you have consistent communication with the network, consistent communication with the prospective clientele. Another important aspect is, of course, the tone of your message, the way you speak. If I have to speak to a stranger, I would always say Mr. So-and-so or Miss So-and-so, right? But just if I know her for some time, Yeah, I would be supposedly on a first name basis, right? I would say, hi Swati, hi Nishita, right? Okay. And if she is my best buddy, a close friend, what happens? The same thing changes. Yeah, we give hugs, kisses, a lot of things, right? So in terms of clientele also, the same thing happens with a community or a network. You create a line of communication where you are addressing uh, the strangers, you're making them your close friends. Yeah, so the communication becomes a little more casual, more prying, more specific in terms of knowing each one of them. And then it goes to such a level where now you can call out to them and say, hey Anupama, please, this is my new product or new service, what do you think about it? Give me your opinion, give me your suggestions, right? So the communication levels need to be created. Remember one thing, be it network, be it customer, be it anything, people don't like people selling to them. People or customers love businesses who understand their need and kind of adapt themselves, or are flexible enough to address their pain points. So first and foremost, in a network where you have a close knit community, make sure you're listening to your customer. Listen to them to that extent where you can actually refine, define, redefine your offering. For example, I'm selling saris, and my customer is a network of women. Now in such a scenario, what happens is you need to listen to what their requirement is. Okay, they are fashion savvy, they are looking at latest trends. Yeah? So you kind of change your communication, your messaging to their requirement. But suddenly something comes up which is very more traditional, like you have Onam coming up, or Diwali coming up, or Navratri coming, where we kind of have specific outfits to wear. In such scenarios, then you have to forget about or keep aside the trends and get onto the traditional path, saying that okay, I do have this as well, but then I can cater to the traditional aspects, and then you kind of push those things forward, right? And we see it happening a lot. For every Indian fest, for example, we Indians have so many festivals with so many different requirements in terms of apparel. In such scenario, what do? Yeah? When it comes to Navratri, we start talking about ghagra cholis. When it comes to Diwali, we start talking about saris. When it's our wedding season, we start talking about kanjivarams and the heavy silk brocade stuff, isn't it? So we actually change the way our clientele requires or requests for products. So please, you need to listen to your clients. You need to listen to the pulse of what the market is saying at that particular time. And in a network, it becomes very, very important because it's a close thing. It's very specific of its requirements, and it is more personal. Yeah? You're not marketing yourselves to strangers, you're marketing yourselves to known people, because somewhere or the other, even if they're not buying from you, you are in front of them, and hence they know you. So your communication with them has to be on that level where it is more friendly, it's more open, it's more where people want to come and actually be a part of your business, purchase from you, or plainly promote you and be your brand ambassador. So when it comes to marketing and networks, a few things that matter, yeah, as I said, target audience, when and where, what they require, the kind of communication that you have, And most important is listening to them as to what their need is, because personal conversations can be steered to a predefined customization aspects. So somebody, I want a sari but with a pink border, a green and a pink border. Those specifications we can cater to, and then we kind of create brand ambassadors by the way of doing a perfect professional business transaction. So make a point that when you are in a network, don't promote just because you think, okay, this is the way it is to advertise. Keep the steps in, keep this formula in mind. Second thing is, when you are promoting in a network, keep in mind that this is a personal space. It's a closed space. So your communication needs to be that way. Don't sell, support your customer. Make sure that you listen to them and give the right solution. And that's where you will create transaction in any network that you go to. For any questions that you have on this aspect of networking formula, please put it in the comment box. Get back to me and I can surely address those concerns. Well, that's all for today. I'll see you same time next Thursday on the same platform. Till then, have a rocking week.